Toyin.
I mean, look at it here. We have, you see, there's Dele Alampasu, there's one of Heartland. All these, there's
Aqua United, coaches and players.
You know, all these decisions were
and there was a deadline. There was a deadline.
There was National United shooting star.
Situation is this. You see, we, in as much as we want to commend the organizers of our league.
No, the LFC have done so well. We praise them when they do so well.
But the truth is that we can only consolidate on these achievements when we begin to address these issues. Because the Player Status Committee is as important as the referee committee.
Why is there football in the first place? What is football all
about?
Yesterday,
yesterday I was telling you something. I said each time there is a match, let's just take this scenario. It is the players that provide jobs for everybody. For example, after a match of 90 minutes, the referees will collect their money.
Indemnities?
The commissioners, the match commissioners will collect their money.
Their indemnities?
Even other workers, even security
outfits. Cleaning the stadium.
The artisans, the cleaner, the stewards,
the
security. Even they get their own before the game is played.
Players have not been paid. I will just fold their hand.
And they are the reason why we are playing football.
Also, can I ask a question? You mentioned, you quoted so many articles by FIFA regarding what should happen in case of non-compliance and other things. But is there any article that clearly states how the composition of the player arbitration committee should, because this might be the argument of the clubs that look, this committee is not properly constituted, and as such it has no backing, and we have no right to respect it.
If you look at the player status committee, now we are running two committees in one. Okay. Player status and arbitration committee.
Yeah, together.
Okay. That is supposed to be the National Dispute Resolution Chamber.
Yeah.
That is where we come in. For example, myself and the president of Players Union, nobody appoints us. We are there representing the interests of the players. So we are not stooges to anybody. Okay. That is why when these issues are not being implemented, we feel agitated, because for each day, more than 20 players and coaches call me. That is why I have to leave Lagos to go to the secretary of the NFF to tell them, look, we need to hold these meetings because the season is winding up and these players cannot afford to stay. So these are issues we need to look at. And I don't know what, for example, I was told, the chairman of the arbitration called me to say, they've invited the secretary of the Players Committee that they are holding a meeting with two other persons. But
is the arbitration committee meeting?
I don't know what they are holding. I don't know what they are discussing. They say they want to investigate. They want to investigate certain issues about provisional clearance and all that. So it just beats my imagination.
Is it the NFF that wants to? Who wants to organize? Who wants to investigate?
I don't know.
The more important question is about enforcement.
I want to come back to that.
You haven't said anything about that. How do we get these clubs?
That's the issue. Enforcement. That's the issue.
How do we enforce it?
And you talked about 2010. Going back in time to 2010, a lot of some of those players have passed on. I remember
what's his name?
The boy that played for Gateway and I think played for Lobby at some stage. He's dead now. Some of these players have passed on. Some of them have
even the ones that are alive. Coach Duan Long,
Franklin Award.
Yeah, tomorrow, if an ex-player because the problem of the ex-player starts from during his career. A player plays, you don't pay him. He transits to be a coach, you don't pay him. He now retires. If he has an headache, he doesn't have money to go for checkup. If he dies suddenly, then you begin to say an ex-player has that. Let me answer your question.
About enforcement.
About enforcement. I just told you the rules. They are there. Naturally, normally, it is the responsibility of the National Association.
The NFF.
The NFF that is supposed to enforce.
They are supposed to enforce.
What is happening now is not just a slap on the Player Status Committee. It's a slap on the NFF.
Because the NFF, what the NFF is supposed to do is to write to the league management company that if these clubs do not pay in line with this judgment and this award, stop them from taking part in the league. I mean, that was what I think we had a case like that under the MPL under Chief Uyuke Obaseki. And that time he told the clubs,
even the money that was supposed to go for them to the clubs, he used it to pay the players.
Direct from source.
I think it's the political will
to do it.
That is the biggest challenge.
These clubs can also argue the fact that because of the vast majority of them are owned by state governments, they can argue that because of the shortfall in finances that they do not have the
where do they get money to execute their matches? Let me tell you, it is the value that is placed on the players. That is the problem.
Very true.
You see, they see the players as liabilities. If you see your players as an asset, it's the first line charge. It's like the worker. Where do you want him to? How do you want him to survive? That is the biggest problem. But we, as a union, like I told you in my last release, you see, FIFA has also given us a window. My last trip in Namibia, you know, the general secretary of the of FIPRO told us clearly that FIFA is also thinking, because I am sure they are also aware that
So national associations
are finding it difficult
to enforce.
Yeah. So they are taking it upon themselves now.
That's FIPRO.
Yeah, that's FIFA, but you have to go to FIPRO.
To FIPRO, yeah.
Yes, FIPRO. So as we speak, we are doing our own compilation we are compiling.
And I'm sure this is also peculiar to a lot of African countries.
Of course, they are
unable to enforce in their
So
in their
we
country.
are compiling the list of money that are being owed players from 2010. We send it to them. You see, all of us own football. We have stakes in football. So it doesn't belong to anybody. You see, the issue, when this issue, for example, when this issue of the 3 years compulsory contract came in the other time, when we raised up to China.
3 years compulsory.
Yeah,
Okay, from the LMC.
You see, no matter the framework you
No, for players under 30. I think they included the caveat.
yes,
For
exactly.
players under 30. For those who have
yes.
spent 10 years in the league, they could be getting 1 year.
year
But for those less than 10 years.
What I'm saying is that, sir, if you go by the FIFA rules, you see, according to the FIFA rules, those are clauses you don't touch. You say national association will not touch them. They just implement them. Minimum is 1 year.
Minimum contract.
Yes, and maximum is 5 years. So regardless whatever innovations you want to make, you understand me? Once it's off, because we were very careful in the arbitration committee in taking decisions based on that 3 years contract, because somebody can just pick it up and go to court.
Very true.
The court will just interpret your own rule to you. They will just interpret the first rule.
But would it be justified, or is it possible if the players decide to go on strike as a last resort?
We are working on that. We are working on that.
That was the same point. Immediately I raised that point of working on strike.
Because there are precedents. Remember
yeah.
in Spain, it happened where the
beginning of the season was delayed in Holland, for example.
Yeah,
because
I think it happened in Italy as well.
And I'm looking for the day that the players will know what powers they have.
Let me tell you something. For now, the players also need security from the players' union. And that's exactly what we are working on. It's even scriptural, Tony. Ecclesiastes 8:11.
I know you're a pastor.
If judgment, if sentence against evil work is not speedily executed, it encourages the sons of men to do more wickedly. It's exactly what we have.
That's a scriptural way to
that is why people will just feel, I have 1 or 2 contacts, let me just... It mustn't continue.
That scriptural statement is the way to end this segment, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to end it on that note. But we need to, I mean, as I wrap this up, I need to say this very quickly. This is not about winch-hunting people or attacking people. It's about complementing the excellent work that the league management company has been doing.
Of course,
because this is the real issue of football administration in Nigeria. And I hope that in the days ahead, we'll begin to reap the rewards.
Before you go, 1 minute, let me say something about Okwaraji.
Okay.
3 years ago or 4 years ago, the Players Union tried to immortalize Okwaraji. We even have 2 editions of the Samba Okwaraji under 17 national competition. And in those competitions, the players don't just play and go. I think Imo State hosted it, one other state hosted it twice. We moved all the players en masse to Okwaraji's hometown.
Olu, I think?
Yeah, Olu. And each time we have money for such conditions, we give the mother some money, renovate the place. We even went further to be organizing lecture every year along the competition. But suddenly from the blues, the elder brother of Okwaraji came and they said it's a family affair. So they hijacked
that tournament from
the tournament. Today is nowhere. But we are also taking a second look at it to
do something to honor him.
Yeah.
Do something to honor him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this tweet says, thank you for discussing the rights of footballers. I just hope these cases are swiftly attended to and the Nigerian factor doesn't come in. All right. That's one of the tweets that we'll just read to wrap up this segment. Austin, keep up the good job. Thank you for coming again, and I'm sure you've been able to say your mind today. Today, I must thank you as well for your time on the show. We'll go on a quick break now. When we return from the break, I'll be bringing in my two very special guests. We'll be taking a look at how can clubs attract corporate support. That's the way to go, to be able to take care of your players and resolve all of the issues that we've just been speaking about. How can clubs attract the right kind of corporate support? We'll be talking about all of that and more after this time out.